I put this video up here that did 1 million views. It was a 3-step process, 3 different drills. I saw such a huge impact on it. So I want you to pay close attention today. Stay tuned until the end because these 3 drills are really going to transform your game. Please subscribe below. And also, if you're looking for some mentorship, if you're looking for a really detailed look into your game, check out the link below. I only take on a few new clients online per month. And what you're going to get is a coach in your pocket, someone that is really going to be in your ear every day, and you're going to see that transformation quickly if you follow my step-by-step process. I like to think about the golf swing in 5 different elements. You have your setup mechanics, you have your tempo, you have your coordination, you have your technique, and then the mental side of it, right? And you link all 5 of those together, and you're going to be a really great golfer. So the one I want to hone in on today is coordination. If you have the correct coordination to hit it well, you're probably a good player. I always see this when other athletes come to me. I've worked with a lot of professional athletes who have come to golf later in life, and they're all pretty good to start out. And why? It's because they have really good hand-eye coordination. So I see this from Tiger Woods, Hideki Matsuyama, John Daly, a lot of the best players in the world. They're constantly doing one-handed drills. Now, I want you to start doing this on a daily basis where you do 10 with your left, 10 with your right, and then hit 10 balls, and then go in that cycle. So if you're that type of golfer that's gonna chunk one, thin one, hit one solid, I want you to be doing a lot of these one-handed drills. So I'm gonna bring you through a quick little progression here. I've got 3 golf balls, and I'm gonna start out very light, right? So I'm gonna start with my non-dominant hand. I'm actually a lefty, and I'm just gonna hit one very nice and light with my right hand. And so all I'm really looking to do is get that going down the center line. And now what I can start to do is identify tendencies with how my hands release. So 2 goals, get it down the center line and hit it flush in the center of the face. So that one there, I hit it a little bit off to the left, and that's actually one of my tendencies is to get my right hand flipping a little bit too much. What I see a lot of golfers, maybe you're a slicer, is that you don't release it enough, okay? So now I'm gonna do one with my left hand. Try and feel like that's a little bit stiffer. Swing maybe a touch harder here because it's my dominant hand. And that one's probably gonna go a little bit left on me too. So I always find when I start out this drill, I'll hit about 5 left, 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 and then it starts to get closer to that center line. And because my hands are starting to relearn what they need to do to square it up through the golf shot. I can almost guarantee you if you're a general golfer, 90% of golfers are this way typically, you're gonna hit too far out to the right. So now I've got 2 swings there, and I'm just gonna go for a normal swing and try and feel what I felt with my hands in a normal shot. So that one felt pretty good. And you know, to be honest, it was a bit of a lazy swing I made, but you can see on the TrackMan there, the ball flew nice and straight. So that is step number 1, is work on coordination and start really slow. Like if you really struggle trying to make like a half swing with a 9-iron, I would start with like just a 9-iron, hit a little 10-yard chip, then a 20-yard chip, build your way up to a full swing. And I can guarantee you that if you do that on a daily basis, you see the pros do it every day, then it's gonna really help your coordination and it's just gonna be easier to find the center of the face. And I do find it is one of those magic things that happens when you start doing the one-handed swings, your coordination gets so much tighter. So let's just see a couple more here. And that should be pretty straight. So again, it felt like I'm not really warmed up right now. It felt like a bit of a lazy swing, but the ball flew nice and straight. So that's step number 1. Okay, so step 2 of this process, I want to bring you through a little story and how I educated myself as a coach. What I did when I started about 7 years ago is I listened to as many interviews and as many podcasts as I could of former PGA Tour players and PGA Tour players that are very experienced. And I kept statistics on everything that they did in their game. And the number 1 thing that came up was tempo. It's incredible how many golfers at the highest level reference tempo as their really important part of their swing, and that's one of those 5 elements that I talked about in the swing. So to me, if you're not doing some sort of tempo training on a daily basis, you're giving up shots. And the one thing I always see, I said this in the last video that I spoke about, if you want to check it out down below, is when my golfers go to the Canadian Open, my clients, and they watch it, and it's always close to my hometown, I go as well too. The week after, they play so much better, and it's because they start to sync up to that rhythm that professional golfers get into. Now, I want to keep it very simple for you today. I want to just give you one tempo drill. There's many different types of tempo drills that we can do, but the number 1 thing that I see from golfers when they start to struggle with contact is they rush from the top and they squeeze from the top, and that's something I've talked about before. So the drill we're going to do, you know, it's commonly called a pause drill, but I want it to call a loader drill, okay? So we think about a slingshot, right? You pull it back, pull, and then let it go. I'm staying in motion as I pull it back, okay? I'm not static and then letting it go because it'll drop right in front of me. So this is kind of how this drill works. getting to the top and really feeling like it's loading. See how I'm staying in motion and then letting it go. And it's almost like when you do this drill, you want to hold that tension as long as you can and then let it go. So it should look like this. So set up to it, load it up at the top, and then go from there. I find for me, someone who tends to really be a little more of a short swinger, that loading feeling at the top for me really gets me synced up. You can see it was a nice straight shot there. I almost feel like I take a whole second at the top, and you can reference Vijay Singh on this one. He would say the word 32, and that for him was about a full second at the top. You get examples like Cam Young, Hideki Matsuyama. These are great players to kind of emulate that pause. So if you do more of that pausing drill, more of that loading drill at the top, it's really going to help you get your sequence down, okay? So when you start out with it, try and get your hands as loose as you possibly can. So when I set up to it here with the loading drill, I'll let my hands waggle. I'll feel like my thumbs are off the club a little bit. And then just think about that load, nice and relaxed. I'm not trying to squeeze it, and then go from there. Okay, so the final drill that I want you to do, this is something that you're gonna do away from the golf course, away from the simulator, away from the driving range. I want you to do it in a mirror at home. And I'm actually gonna use this video afterwards to assess my fundamentals and how it looked for me. It's the structure of my swing. Now, there's 3 elements of a tour swing that all tour players have, and I learned this from Scott Kaux, my mentor. It's basically how you shift onto your lead side, how you turn, rotate your body, and then how you tilt your spine. And Rory, you'll see Rory McIlroy do this, kind of like a slap shot drill you would see in hockey. He does this consistently, and it allows for the structure of his swing to work well. So to me, the easiest way to create a better motor pattern, I learned this from my close friend and mentor, Dr. Mike Sohn, who works for the Chicago Cubs, is building a motor pattern away from the golf course, building the form, and really getting that muscle memory down, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is do a split grip, or I'll grip it like this, stay in a bit more side bend, get to the top, and I'm gonna keep this structure the whole way down and rotate open. And now as I rotate open, I'm maintaining my spine angle, okay? Now, one little thing I'm making sure I'm doing is I'm staying on my lead side as I'm doing this. So I'll do anywhere from like 30 of these reps per day. It's also great to do in the gym. You can grab a cable from right here and then pull down as you do it. But I want you to film yourself. One really key thing in your swing. As you come down, I want you to make sure the club is laying down. I do not want the club up in this spot right here, because as we know, that's steep, that's in a really bad spot. It's hard to control from there. So when I get to the top here, it almost feels like I'm firing my right side, but staying in my posture, okay? And so I find there's a really important concept here. The tighter you are, the less mobile you are in the hips, lower back. Do it slower, because this is gonna also act as a stretch too. I remember when I started doing this drill about 5 years ago, I was very tight, very stiff, couldn't really move around my body too much. So I would just stand in the mirror and perform at a slow motion, as slow as I possibly could go. Now I'm at a point where I'm trying to rip it full speed, and just like that, and it almost turns into a speed drill, kind of similar to the way Rory McIlroy does it. So that's it for today. We have covered 3 of the bases, okay? So I want you to be doing these practices consistently every day. You have one for coordination, one for tempo, and one for technique. You put all 3 of those together, I can promise you you're gonna be a better ball striker within a month, okay? So the key with this is always, you're always gonna hear me say this in every video, is keep it simple, stay disciplined to the process every day, and I promise you you're gonna start to see that transformation over a pretty short period of time if you stay dedicated to it. I would say a simple thing to think about too is if you can do anywhere from, with all these different drills that we're doing, 90 to 100 reps. It won't take you that long if you're staying in consistent motion. I think it's gonna have a huge impact on your game. Thanks so much for watching today. If you have any comments, any questions on your swing, please drop it below. I'll do my best to answer them.